Hello, I'm April Brown with Zelken Financial Services, LLC, and I'm back with the tip, today's illuminated point. So today I'm going to be talking about sinking funds. So I came across an interesting article talking about sinking fund by Rebecca Lake. So the article was pretty interesting and I wanted to share what I've learned. I'd never heard of the term, so I thought, okay, what is this about? So, what is a sinking fund? A sinking fund is money that's saved towards a specific goal. Governments and businesses can use sinking funds to hold reserve cash to fund future expenses. So, why should you be interested in sinking funds? Does this kind of account have a place in your personal finance? So, what is a sinking fund exactly? So, what sinking funds are is a way to earmark and stash money so you can either buy a new car or take an amazing vacation. So understanding how sinking funds work can help you decide if you need to include that in your budget. So a sinking fund can help you be financially prepared to pay certain expenses that are not on the horizons. So in this way, it can help you avoid having to turn to high interest credit cards or loans to cover expenses that don't fit into your monthly budget. So being able to avoid debt is one of the main reasons why savings is so important. Example of a sinking fund are vehicle maintenance and repair, pet care, home maintenance and repair, birthdays, holidays, and other special occasions, wedding expenses, baby expenses. I'll say this, I had a client who she recently got married and they actually set aside, probably they didn't know it, a sinking fund to pay for their wedding. Those are just a few of the things you might need a sinking fund for. So the number of sinking funds you choose to establish can depend on your financial goals. You can set up separate accounts for each goal, and if you'd like to automate the savings into each, that's going to be really helpful, which helps because out of sight, out of mind. You don't see it, it's just gone, and you keep it moving. So by setting up reoccurring transfers to occur right after your paycheck hits your checking account, you can help your sinking fund grow with minimal effort. So the benefits of a sinking fund is you can use them to create a structured plan for savings towards various expenses or financial goals. So depending on where you keep your sinking fund, you may be able to earn a decent rate of interest on your deposits. Sinking funds ensure that when a planned expense comes due, you have the money to pay it. So you can avoid dipping into your emergency fund or using your credit card. So let's talk about the drawbacks of a sinking fund. You have to be organized and disciplined when setting up a fund or multiple funds. And if you're also saving or investing in other accounts, you may have trouble keeping track of what is the sinking fund money and what isn't. So that's really important. So saving in multiple sinking funds could leave you spread thin financially if you're not careful about budgeting. Budgeting, people, that word again. So let's talk about how to create a sinking fund. So getting started with sinking funds isn't that difficult. Here are just a few simple tips to think about. List your sinking fund categories. So the first step in creating a sinking fund is to decide what the category is or what you want it to include. And so a good way to choose a sinking fund category is to review your spending for the last 6 months to a year. So you're looking for expenses that may reoccur periodically or biannually or annually, such as insurance premiums or annual home maintenance that you may be doing, that kind of thing. So from there, consider what savings goals you may want to work towards that are a one-time expense. So that may include a wedding or a down payment for a house or, something else, something that you only expect to pay for once. So you can then use your reoccurring expense and planned expenses to create your sinking fund categories. So next one, We're going to determine your savings target. So you want to decide how much money you want to save towards each expense or the goal on your sinking fund list. So assign an overall dollar amount first, then determine how much you need to save monthly based on when you plan to spend the money. So example, for ease of math, let's say you are saving $1,200 for a trip. So you divide $1,200 by 12 months, and your saving goal should be or would be about $100 per month. Easy math. So next thing to think about is to decide where to keep your sinking fund. So once you know what you need to save for each month, you can choose where you want to keep your sinking fund. So again, this may be like a single savings account or a money market account, which earns you money, or a savings account that has multiple sub accounts. Just depends on what you want to do. So know this, and I mentioned it earlier, set up an automatic transfer. So once you open the sinking fund accounts, take the final step and then link them to your checking account. And then schedule a reoccurring transfer or automatic transfer from your check to that sinking fund account each month. So you can grow your savings automatically. So things to be mindful about. So be mindful about automatic deduction setups for payday, because if you don't set it up on your payday, it might throw you off and you might not have enough money or have what you need in the checkings account that you set up or in that savings account. And so, these are things to think about. Let's talk about sinking funds versus emergency funds, because I did mention an emergency fund earlier. So you may be tempted to dip into your emergency fund for some expenses like, let's say, buying a new mobile phone. However, a sinking fund may be a better option. So while a sinking fund and an emergency fund are both designed for savings, they serve very different purposes. So let's talk about sinking fund again. You set aside the money regularly that you spend at some point in time for something that you need, maybe once that occurring. So example I'll give is you need a new phone, and because your current one is starting to glitch and having some problems, so a new model will be coming out that has lots of bells and whistles. And so you're like, okay, I want this, but I'm going to have to wait 6 months. So you set up your sinking fund that you're going to use for that one-time expense. Or, like I said, a reoccurring expense, biannual, that kind of thing. Your emergency fund, on the other hand, is designed to hold emergency cash in case you have an unexpected expense that you need to cover, i.e. your washing machine goes out, or you need to replace the roof or patch a hole or whatever. So emergency funds are there for those moments, and when you need to get that taken care of. So if you have an emergency fund which pays for the unforeseen expenses, and a sinking fund which can pay for those foreseen expenses, with both funds you're less reliant on high interest credit cards to pay for things. So the takeaways: a sinking fund can help you stay on track when saving for planned expenses. You can use a sinking fund to save for a wide range of expenses without having to dip into any other savings or your emergency fund or breaking out your plastic. It can be a helpful way to organize your finances and meet your money and your lifestyle goals. So if you want to reach out to me, you can find me at zelkenfinancial.com, or you can email me at factfinder@zelkenfinancial.com. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm April Brown with Zelken Financial Services, LLC. And until the next time, have a great day.